Welcome to season two of Rabbit Holes with Aaron, where we haven't made any drastic changes, but we believe we get better with time. So enjoy the wide constellation of guests that I have on this show. Enjoy our conversations. Hopefully, you get some nuggets and you can learn and grow and become a better person. Thanks for listening. Welcome to Rabbit Holes with Aaron, and I'm Aaron. And today with me as my guest, I have James Clark,
Howdy, howdy.
or as he likes to call himself, just
Just James all over again.
And today we're gonna, he's a friend I know from all different kinds of places. We have coffee together sometimes on Friday morning. He reads books. He's starting a new exciting adventure called Burning Dead Dinosaurs, which hopefully he'll talk about in this episode. So thanks for joining us today, James.
Well, I appreciate it. It's good to see you, my friend. Feel like it's been like, I don't know, like a week or so, you know? And so kind of interesting. It's funny you mentioned that I read books. I'm really starting at the level that I can read at, you know? And so it's worked out pretty good. Shel Silverstein level.
That's some deep stuff, actually. That's
Absolutely.
Shel Silverstein.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody likes the Giving Tree.
I've never read that one, but
You've
I
never
believe it.
read the Giving
I
Tree?
mean, I like anything that has giving, so that
Wow.
works.
The Giving Tree, um, it seems like periodically throughout my life, I've read that story to certain people and different people, and it's just one of the Shel Silverstein books that's easy to read, which helps me a lot. I know all the words in it,
Mm.
so that's helpful. No big words, it's all about this tree, it's about this little boy. Okay, so this little boy is lonely. He's walking through the woods and he sees this tree.
Mm.
And the tree says, "Hi, little boy," basically. He's talking to the boy, he may have done some trims. I don't know why the tree was talking to him. Oh, yes, yes. I don't really know why the tree was talking to him when I look back at it, but I'm pretty sure the tree is representative of his mom. But,
Okay.
the tree is like, "Why don't you climb in my branches and play?" The boy climbed his branches, and the boy was happy, and the tree was and the boy goes away, okay? And it goes on and on. As he gets older, the boy he doesn't want to climb the tree anymore. He wants money so he can buy a car. So she gives him his leaves and branches and apples. He sells them, he buys a car. And then the boy's gone for a long time again. So then the boy comes back and he wants to build a house. So the tree gives him all of its wood to build the house. And the tree was happy. The tree was happy. And then many years later, the boy comes back, and the tree's like, "I have nothing to give to you." And the boy's like, "I'm old. I really just need to sit down." And he goes, "Oh, a stump is a good place to sit." And so the man sits on it, and the tree is happy. But it's really kind of to me, it's almost a mom-son situation because the mom's giving everything to the child all the way to the end. Anyways, it's a great book, but Shel Silverstein, everything is interesting, easy to read, it has lots of flow, and so it's fun, kids love it, and so I enjoy reading those things. It's interesting, one of my stories I read hit, like, 5,000 views in, like, an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Congratulations, actually.
I don't know that that monetizes me, but man, I don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
Just think of all those people either listening to me and making fun of me or enjoying it and making them happy. I guess maybe I'm the kid, 'cause that makes me happy.
Well, and that's something I think worthy to aspire to, right? Giving people what they need to continue on their journey.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not pieces of yourself, but maybe, I mean, ideas,
Well, and
thought.
the premise and the whole thing is my mom in her last year, really the last few times I was able to get her out, I took her by the cemetery to see her late husband, and, uh, and I got the idea of filming her for TikTok, just talk, and we several TikTok videos and whatnot, and, she passed away later that, but I still have those videos, and
Wow.
so I can go back, hopefully I never lose them, but I can go back to TikTok, and I can pull them up, and I can show my son, And then maybe someday, should for some reason I become a grandparent, I can show the grandkids, grandma, you know,
Yeah.
'cause, it's a great grandma. And so I think, I go, what if I could get that same gift to culture? Because what if for some reason, one of those silly things I do in the world, and I don't end up, living beyond, the world or beyond tomorrow or the next day, what can I leave? What can I leave? And so I thought that was pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, excuse me, to that point, like the podcast, I mean, being on a podcast, as long as there's the internet, somebody can listen to your voice,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Sorry, I'm making sure we're still good. So doing the videos kind of leaves a piece of me, if you would, for people, and then I'm finding that other people are getting joy from it because I was at the library today, and the librarian said, "Oh, my son is just so excited for you to read the next book,"
Wow.
and I
Yeah.
didn't even know they were watching, and so it's kinda cool.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's multiplicative. You
No.
don't know how many people are gonna talk to how
Yeah,
and you hope to have that kind of impact,
right.
like, spread seeds to all different kinds of people that you would never otherwise see or come in contact
No, I think that's interesting to look at that way. I am I try to read short books, so I can get all in the 10-minute allocated time. Well, this time I had to it was 30 minutes.
I saw some of that, like, they had
Yeah.
3 different sections.
Yeah, and I don't like that, but that does open me up to being able to read longer books. And so I've got my sampling of my next books over here on the desk, and they're longer. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get to them, in 1 or 2, sessions. So it'll be interesting. Even then, I even learned some lessons along the way because I do
Yeah.
bring new endeavors or branch out. I learned that once you load your first 10-minute video, I immediately tagged it, labeled it, put it on load and started shooting another video 'cause I wanna get through the book. Well, the reality of it is right in like 4 minutes in, I guess, it automatically wants to post it to other social media, and it interrupts you.
Mm.
And so now I realize, okay, shoot the video, pause, let it do its thing, and then do the second one
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So hopefully I'm labeling them in a way that people can find them and watch in order and recognize. And I never just read, I always talk a little bit. So it's kinda fun. It's fun.
Well, and that reminds me and I appreciate you sharing that, and just for the listeners, like, what James been doing is, as he said, recording videos and putting on TikTok of him reading kids' books. It's been amazing to see him sit in his doghouse here and read kids' books that he'll might not ever meet those particular kids from
Yeah,
anywhere in the world,
that's true.
you
That's
know,
true.
and
That's
that spread, and that reminds me of a story, if I can, I'd like to share a story
okay.
from, like, when I was a young Marine. I think I'd been in 8 years, and my first wife left, and I had 2 toddlers, 3.5 and 4.5. They weren't boys yet. I had to figure out daycare, I had to figure out how to cook at night, I figured out WIC, all this stuff, laundry, all the things the other half is supposed to do so I could go. I was active duty in the Marine Corps.
Right.
Luckily, we weren't at war, and they weren't trying to deploy me at that time. But at the same time, like, I had to figure out all this stuff, so that's one of the things I did is we went to the library 'cause it was free,
Right.
and we got a library card, and I swear to you, we went down the kids' book,
Mm.
grabbed these 6, and I'd read in books every time when I go to bed.
Yes.
And I saved one of the books, and I don't have it with me right now. You'd be like, "Read it right now." I have it in storage, and, like, I pulled it out the other day and read it, and I cried and cried because I miss them. Now they're in their 20s. When they were 3 and 4, they thought I was amazing, and,
Right.
you know, I was a single parent and an active duty Marine
So you're pretty amazing.
and trying to do a good job of being a father at the same time. But, yeah, that book and sharing books with them, I remember them. They're like, "Dad, don't." I tried to read it to them as a teenager 10 years later. "Dad, don't read that book. Please just come sit down and read this book to me again." I did all these voices. The name of the book, if you wanna look it up, is How Does the Dinosaur Say Goodnight? It is
Okay.
so much fun. I did all these different voices and all these different things. Had so much fun with them. Just to give a little bit more detail, like, before they went to bed, like, I had them sit on a couch watching Looney Tunes for, like, 10 minutes. They're already out of the bathtub and in their pajamas, come over and read them books for, like, 20 minutes till they got sleepy. Then went tucked them in and sang them lullabies. I got
Mhm.
to do I was in control of everything.
That was awesome.
And with my dominion, I decided to just kind of pour into them, and
Yeah.
it was a really hard time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of tears. You know, my son was, like I said, about 4.5, and he was like, "Where's mommy? Where's my brother?" And, and you're just 'cause she had 2 kids
Ah.
that left well. So it was just like me and them.
Oh, that's
It was a
crazy.
hard time,
Yeah,
but,
I can imagine.
now they're out there in the world, they're doing good things, I'm really proud of them. So but yeah, thank you for reminding me about the story time I had with them.
So it's really interesting. So everyone today has gone to audiobooks. You have Audible or whatever the reader is, and you hear the book, but you don't really hear about the book. So I'm randomly picking up a book, okay? And this is a book I read recently. It's called Sugarloaf, The Orphan Cat. Well, I open it up and it's by this Lynn Sheffield Simmons. And then I really look at it, and it was published on Old Justin Road. So then I thought, well, let me learn more. Well, she graduated from Texas Women's University. And so so she's local. A random book in a whole library I picked, and it's a local person. And so
Amazing.
it's pretty awesome, but you would never know that. And there's nothing quite like the smell of just paper when you open a book. To me, Audible is great. I mean, I've got a huge library on Audible because when I'm driving, I listen to that more often than I do like music and stuff, And so I'm actually listening to a book right now. I'm a little embarrassed. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but I'm on chat. It's a it's an Audible book, right? It's actually a Pocket FM book, which, that's a whole long story, but I started listening to this silly, probably not even age appropriate book for me, right, on Audible, and it has to do with vampires, and I'm not, like, into that vampire world, it's really not my thing, but I listened to, like it gets you far enough to get you hooked, then you have to load all this Pocket FM thing to listen to the
Oh,
rest of it.
no, that's terrible.
It's horrible because they only give you, like, just enough, and then you have to listen to ads to get more, or you have to wait 24 hours to get the next sampling. So, when you're ready to binge listen, you can. Or if you pay, you can buy more credits so you can keep listening.
Oh my god.
So, I'm on
Well,
chapter 2,640, and I'm pretty sure it's growing on the back end, like, they keep feeding into this monster, and I just wanna finish it so I can get out of this thing, but I can't.
yeah.
Very, very well, very well, very, very well written. It's intriguing. It's engaging. The story goes on. It always ties back. The author did a phenomenal job. Maybe a team of authors. I don't even know anymore. I've been listening for over a year. My wife and daughter make fun of me, but I'm in, and the lead guy's name is Quinn, so I'm in with Quinn, let's this thing. It's just crazy. But books are awesome,
Yeah,
and so you get the Audible, you get that, but really filling up under a light, with a drink and a book and just kinda sitting back and allowing yourself to think. I am I Your books are this is a great rabbit hole to go down, right? Um,
sure.
so I grew up so far out in the middle of Nowhereville. We didn't have TV. I was born in the 1900s, I was yeah, I was born in the 1900s,
Yeah.
so it was a long time ago. We we had books. Mom would take us to the library. We'd be able to check out 5 books, which I would typically have read by midnight, and as long as my AA batteries would hold out for me to read, hiding under my cover reading because I wouldn't sleep until I read them all. And then I'd wait, you know, eagerly till we could go back to the library to get more books. But we didn't have a lot of money. It's not like we had a lot of toys. We didn't have the video games. We didn't have all the stuff to kinda take you on these adventures. So the book was that. And so I would get lost in books, and I've read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica from cover to cover, that deep in the book. When there's nothing to read, find something to read. So
Well, and I like to think about it, and I used to tell my kids they're growing up, you can learn anything from a book if you can read. You can learn anything.
true. It's true. It Can you imagine? I mean, today it's YouTube,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, you can watch somebody do it. That's arguably a little bit better watching somebody else replace the engine or whatever. If you don't have a clue how to do it, watching them and being able to line it up. But just short of that, you're right. YouTube is the only kind of advancement that really is helping. I have fixed so many things with YouTube. I'm sure you have too. I've
Oh,
like
yeah.
fixed RV slides, fixed, on and on the list goes.
Yeah, there was a time in my world when you like, "I wonder how this works," and you wouldn't find out.
Yeah.
Now you pull up some search engine and, you know, how I avoided the plug for what we all call the search engine.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
avoided that plug right there. But when you look up some search engine, you name it, or you hop on AI, you type in your thing, and bam, you got the answer. You never have to wonder. I almost wonder if you're less enriched by not having something to wonder.
Well, and it really works best on the platform that we're talking about. The platform of where advanced readers, we can read a book, we can almost fix or do anything from just reading. And so if you put YouTube on top of that, then I don't even know what our limits are,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
no limits whatsoever. I think you can do anything. I mean, I dare say you'd probably be able to you do surgery, you know, and maybe we may have to, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was awesome. So what you been up to since we talked last?
Well, mostly podcast stuff. I have
You do podcasts?
yeah, here I am.
Wow,
Here I am
interesting.
again. I think this is gonna be episode 7 that we're recording right now of season 2. I've got 38 episodes in the 1st season, but I've been working really more diligently on marketing, like
Okay.
and so I have a entrepreneur coach assigned to me from PVA, if you haven't heard of it, Paralyzed Veterans of America. Due to my disabilities, you look at me and like I'm fully functioning for the most part, but I have MS, multiple sclerosis, and it attacks the pons area of my brain, making me a little vestibularly challenged. So my balance is a little bit off. So you might see me walking and think, "Is Aaron drunk?" And it's really just my imbalance.
Yeah, that word
I mean, except on
vestibularly.
Friday.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
on Fridays you get so the word vestibularly would never be found in one of the books, you know, not
Oh,
um,
is it? I was just gonna think
do
it's not
do
a real word that I just kind of added a syllable, a
yeah, added some
co-sample
syllables
to
to
or
them and
something.
stuff, yeah. So are you aware that my dad had MS?
I'm not aware of that.
So my dad was so my mom first of all, I'm adopted, okay? My mom's a mom, but my dad adopted, and I met him the same day my mom met him, you know, interesting, at a liquor store, that's another hole for another day. But,
Okay.
but, he man, he busted his butt. My work ethic is fine. He had
Okay.
2 or 3 jobs taking care of kids that weren't even his. You know, he didn't owe us anything, but he was that man. Like, he just poured into us. He brought home a picture Bible, like, within the first week of coming to the house, and he'd read to, you know, my mom's daughter and
Wow.
I, and I just remember that, and I maybe that would drive some of my reading. But, we had a father-son, basketball tournament with the church I was involved with, and he was stumbling around all the time. My dad he was always clumsy. He was never really quite okay. And so, mind you, this is in the '80s, okay? And things have changed since the '80s. But, he, was stumbling around, so Dr. Griffin saw him and he thought, "We need to talk to you," and they got him in, and they chased the diagnosis for over a year. And back then, they put him on chemo and
Oh my
radiation
god.
and
Yeah.
all this stuff to
Mhm.
try to beat this thing. And but dad was still steadily working. He fell and broke his tailbone, but he was still steadily working, and he never slowed down until the day they officially gave him his diagnosis of having MS, and it kinda went downhill from you know, it
Mm.
almost deflated. And and they didn't deal with MS back then well. We knew several families that had MS, you know, people in the family, they were in wheelchairs with walkers, you know, they weren't functioning, and they would go through bad spells with they pins and needles, I'm sure you know, and they would just be out of order. Ultimately, dad retired from a company in logistics, And then he went to school at John Brown University in Northwest Arkansas. He ultimately ended up getting his honorary Bible degree, what he wanted to be as a pastor.
Okay.
That's what his goal was, but he took such a decline.
Mm,
Um, he ended up bedridden for 10 years,
wow.
and when he passed away, he was 65.
Huh,
But it was the treatments that did that to him.
sure.
Today, I know I would have never known with you. I know multiple people that have MS, and they're I mean, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Once you know, you'll pick it up, but my dad didn't have a chance.
Yeah. I'd like to talk about it for a second. So, yeah, my story with MS was I was in the Marine Corps, had been in for 19.5 years. Already had a retirement package in to retire at 20. And then one day I'm just walking down the hallway in my Charlie, which is your short sleeve, official uniform. And I was checking some paperwork, red pen in hand, gunnery sergeant, D7. Like, I'm gonna have to change this. Just doing little edits on some paperwork, and all of a sudden I'm walking along the right side of the hallway, and my arm is dragging on the hallway, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Get back in the middle of the hallway, keep working on my clipboard, and all there I am again. And
Mm.
like my balance was just kind of shifting to where I could think I'm walking straight, but I would actually walk kind of diagonal
Oh, wow.
for a while when it first hit me. And that's called an exacerbation. When the white blood cells kind of break through the sheath of your nerves, the myelin sheath, and
Mm.
they get to the nerves and they actually eat them and chew them up. And so you lose some connections, millions of little nerves. And then that's what happened. They, for some reason, and they focused on a different part of your brain or spinal column for each person.
Oh, wow.
So one person can have progressive and it starts at the end of their fingers and works up their arm over the week. And another person can, just like me, have something, a part of my brain that my white blood cells
Mm.
attack. Don't know why. It's not genetic. Maybe, there's whispers about vaccines causing stuff like that, but
Always, always.
there's always whispers about everything. But yeah, you would never know it. And actually, I was on medication from the time they found out when I was in the Marine Corps until last year. I would go in for infusion at the VA hospital. But actually, to tell you the truth, I am overly blessed because it's the best MS you'll ever hear about. Mine moved so slow and it was relapsing remitting. So it hit me once for balance, it goes away for 10 years, comes back, hits me for balance a little bit more. And then when you turn 50, your immune system slows down so much that they take you off all medication unless it's extreme,
Mm.
extreme. So I'm off all medication now for 2 years
Wow.
and doing
Aaron
great.
unmedicated.
And yeah, well, and I don't like telling people, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But the main reason is I want people to be inspired. I want them to say, "You have MS, and look at all the things I do," and be
Right.
like, "I'm completely healthy and have no pain. What am I doing?" And hopefully they start doing what they're
Oh, yeah, yeah.
passionate about.
No, for sure. No, it's a pretty phenomenal story. So you went ahead and got your 20. They didn't medically discharge you or anything, did they?
No, they didn't. They actually I stayed in for another 8 months after my 20,
Mm.
so we can get, reconciled or worked out with the VA what my disability percentage was gonna be and get me set up for my life afterwards. And so, yeah, it was really nice. I went to Wounded Warrior Battalion for those 8 months, had some alternative exercises, you could do swimming
Nice.
instead of running 3 miles 3 times, 3 to 5 times a week. So, it was a nice little brief retirement kind of get myself focused, get my family and my funds going forward straightened out.
Yeah.
Really helped.
No, that's a great story. I knew you were a veteran. I didn't realize you were a Marine. It explains a lot.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm Army, and so obviously we're better than y'all. But I I I have a lot of friends that are Marines
If you have to say it.
well, I know a lot of friends that are Marines, and come to think of it, they may all have MS.
Mm.
It may be a Marine thing.
Maybe we get it from the crayon. I don't know.
It bet it's the
I
crayons.
never did wanna touch those Crayolas, but I couldn't resist.
Absolutely. I don't know if you saw on social media on the National Marine birthday, annual the birthday, I posted a Crayola cake.
I might have. Um, I don't know.
It was cool because it's a silent kind of respect, "Hey, I know," kinda thing,
Yeah,
but most civilians have no clue what the heck it was about, you know?
yeah,
They're counting the crows, how many years maybe it is or something. Yeah, so
yeah. Hey, as long as you talk about it, we don't need to care
yeah,
if you say mean
absolutely.
stuff.
Hey, absolutely, absolutely.
It's hard to really it really is super hard to say mean stuff to Marines and kinda get "What? What did you say? What branch were you in?" "Oh, well, never mind," or whatever.
Well, I
Not
mean
necessarily you.
well,
Army's
yeah,
okay.
obviously not the Army, you would never anything but the Chair Force maybe. You know, I always thought bad about the Air Force, not because any other reason than my in-laws are both, like, 27-year Air Force veterans, and so, you know, whenever veterans get around each other, they're always trying to one up each other, so I give the Air Force hat, but they remind me they had apartment complexes, and I lived in a barracks, you know?
Tell me about it. Yeah, they have well, they used to have turned down service. I don't think they do anymore. I don't know. They've been shaking things up there in the
Oh,
Department of
no, I
War,
mean
having
yeah.
inspections, and they probably have field day and Friday morning inspections. I don't
Well, do you know what their physical fitness test was? Did you ever hear?
I think it was like a what isn't it like a half a mile run and like
No, it may have changed. No, they put monitors on you, put you on a bicycle, stationary bicycle, you have to pedal for a certain amount, and they're watching your vital.
that's torture. I wouldn't want that. I mean,
I wouldn't either. Put me on the road. But you only ran 3 miles. I remember we ran Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Monday was 5 miles,
okay.
and Wednesdays was, like, 3, but Fridays were a 7-mile run, you know,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, that
That's a
was
lot.
it's a lot of daggum running, you know, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays were push-ups, and usually muscle failure day. And
Hmm.
so, you all do muscle failure? They call it the same, where you do push-ups so you can't do push-ups anymore, and then you do more push-ups?
No.
Yeah, so we
But
did
we did
muscle
them with
failure.
pull-ups. So that was our thing.
Oh,
So we might do pull-ups after we get back to the run. And we even had plans called the Recon Run pull-up program where you did a certain amount that day, and
uh-huh.
then next week you move up to doing a few
Oh,
more to get you because you had to do 20 dead hang pull-ups.
okay, and you did 20?
I
No
have done 20 dead hang
no
pull-ups.
problem?
Well, it changes over the course. They switched to that when had been in for 6 or 7 years, so everybody I used to do them, but I would kip, and then they took away the kip.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could kinda get a little swing going. I
Yeah.
could do 20 like that.
Right, right, right.
Of course, I was probably 150 pounds or something back
Oh,
then,
man,
but
150 pounds. Those are the days. I think, when I was like 135, 140 pounds out of high school. Actually, mind you, that's not even fair to say because I graduated when I was 15. So at 15, I was 135, 140. On my
Okay.
16th birthday, I went into the Army National Guard. Um, and I've mentioned this before, but it wasn't particularly patriotic. It was a fiscal decision. My rent was like 193 a month, and they paid like 200 a month, 204 a month. So 3 days, my rent was paid. Then this summer, I get 2 weeks of pay. Man, that was good stuff. So I went in for
Yeah.
that reason. But when I came out, I was in the Army National Guard for almost 18 months before I went to basic training. So I went to basic training. I was an E3, which was not good because you don't want to go in basic training to rank.
Right.
Because the drill sergeants, they see you with E3, you know, with rocker on, man, you're in the crosshairs, right? And they're expecting everything out of you, and you're in the National Guard. You're everything is not everything at that
Yeah.
point, right? Anyways, um, I remember when I went in, I was probably 140, but I came out of basic training, mind you, in like 9 weeks, I was 165. Night and day different person,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it was good. It was good. I think it was a wise decision, even though it was based upon money and just trying to get by as a young kid. I wasn't even a young adult, I was a young kid, and, it was worth doing. So,
Yeah.
it's kinda funny. This is a great story. So, I'm 15 years old, okay? I'm in Northwest Arkansas. Um, I've already skipped, like, basically 3 grades in school, not because I was particularly intelligent, but rather I was in Texas schools that moved to Arkansas, and we were just that much advanced. And
Yeah.
so the standard coursework you did in Texas was literally 2.5 to 3 years over where they were in Arkansas,
Okay.
which is crazy. So I tested out at 3 grade, which put me in a grade with much older kids, if you would. So this guy named, his name is Tracy, but we call him Buddy. Buddy Shannon, he was in the Army National Guard when he was still in school, and we were buddies. And so we hung out, and he said, "You should come to guard drill with me." I'm like, "Okay." So we hop in his car, Delta 88, went to Fort Chaffee to this field training exercise, and I remember it like it was yesterday 'cause I get out there, and of course, I'm in jeans and T-shirt, everybody's in BDUs, the old woodland green BDUs,
Oh, yeah.
and so I was out there and they're this is an 8-inch self-propelled howitzer unit.
Okay.
So they're putting
I've seen
steel
those.
on target, and this is self-propelled, so these are like tanks to me. It's
Yeah.
a howitzer, but to me, it's a dang tank, right?
Right. It's
And,
got treads, it's a tank.
exactly. So we're out there and then, they set up and they got this aiming circle and they're doing all this stuff, and then they're gonna fire. And I'm thinking, "Whatever." I had a cup of coffee sitting on my desk. Mind you, I was in an observation area with the fire dress control guys, FDC, which my buddy was in, and the gun bunnies, which is a term of endearment for the 13 Bravo.
Sure.
They pulled tail inside this machine or whatever, and it went off, and my coffee flew back on me. I mean, the concussion from behind, and I knew right then I was where I wanted to be.
Okay.
So at 1,700 hours, everything shut down. Nets went out over everything, stuff got put away.
Chamois netting.
Everything. We had these nets and mind you, my eyes are all big, and then Case of Beer came out. 15-year-old James was getting a beer from this guy that was old. Like, he's probably in his early 30s, but I'm 15. I thought the guys were old.
Twice your age.
So that yeah, exactly, so gave me a beer, and I popped my beer, and I'm sitting there drinking beer with the men. I grew some hair on my chest that night. I mean, I was like, "Alright." And, I went to, 3 more guard drills until my birthday, and then I joined. And so on my 16th birthday, I had to get a waiver and all that stuff, and had to go find my parents. I wasn't living with them, and so they signed the waiver to let me in, and Sergeant Patrick took me down, issued me some T-850 and all the gear, and I was then a soldier. And, I started learning how to be a soldier, and, did really good for me. When I was young, I played rec sports. I had coaches that were kinda my father figure. You know,
Okay.
whenever my dad came into my life, he became a father figure, obviously, and then whenever I joined the Army National Guard, I had all these other men that did different things, all the father figure. I was very blessed to have a lot of, like, dedicated, very structured, male in my life. I don't
Okay.
people don't get that,
Yeah.
so I was very blessed. I really appreciate kinda how it turned out. Anyways, so joined National Guard, and a few years later, when the Montgomery GI Bill didn't pay like it was supposed to, my university I was going to, said, "You're not paying, and, you can't be here for free, and so you're gonna have to move out of your dorm and go live someplace else." So I moved out and was a bartender for about 3 months and spinning my wheels, went active duty. So boom, boom, boom.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole of artillery, I guess. I have an artillery story, but so different than yours. We had just got to Iraq, and I was advanced party, and we were stationed in Fallujah. And they put me in charge of because I was in radio repair, that was
Mhm,
my job,
mhm.
electronic repair, ground radios more specifically. But they put me in charge of a computer repair shop, repairing laptops and computers for all the Marines that were stationed there in Fallujah.
Okay.
And I had a team of, like, 10 Marines or whatever, and, you're sitting there and the guy's telling you how to do the job, he's about to leave and go back to the States, he's rear part,
Right.
but he's helping us get set up, and you hear the big house, the big guy. Boom, 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 and it's just like you said, stuff shake it's like an
Yeah.
earthquake, stuff shakes around, and everybody hits the deck, somehow with flak and helmet on. You didn't even know where they were, all of a sudden, boom, 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 flak and helmet are on, you're on the deck, and the guy that I'm taking over for, he's just sitting there typing on his computer. He's like, "Oh, that's outgoing, and don't we feel like it is?" But then you get ready to leave Iraq, and then your replacements are standing there, and once again, boom, 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 they hit the deck, and you get to be the cool guy, just like, "Oh, that's outgoing." You just kinda look over at 'em and keep typing, and yeah, so we gotta hear a lot of outgoing there. We did have mortars drop close to us from time to time, but those are maybe other rabbit holes for another time. So,
Yeah,
what else do you wanna talk about, James?
man, I tell you, I mean, there's so many things to talk about.
I
Did
know.
did you see I got a new truck?
Are you talking about the truck out there?
No, I got a 1921 Ford Model T.
I think you showed me last time I was here,
Yeah,
a little bit.
I've been kinda learning about it. I bought it, it didn't run. And, within a couple, 2, 3 hours, I was able to get it to run.
Okay.
Remember, you can read to figure out how things work, watch YouTube, um, but in between there, I also held a flashlight for my dad for many, many, many hours. Never apparently pointing at the right damn spot, but held the
That's how it works, I think.
yeah, exactly. And so I apparently picked up some knowledge from that, maybe reading Encyclopedia Britannica, and so some cheap broken vehicles over the years. I had it running in 2 hours. I got it running, everything's good.
Wow.
And it's weird because, anything about vehicles, okay, this has you have to advance the timing from the steering wheel. So you can watch the distributor do this while you're doing this. So timing, throttle, this bunch of pedals, whatever they do. I drove around the block. Not I drove around the yard for a little bit. I'm like, "All right, it's ready. Good. Let's go around the block." Around the block, got back home, got out, and I noticed it's peeing water, in between the head and the block.
Oh,
And so I got whole gasket set over here, but, it's just fun, sitting there because everything was so simple, you know?
yeah.
Everything was so simple.
Gas, water, electricity, probably.
Yeah, pretty much, and so
Air. There's air. You gotta have air, but
gotta have air.
got plenty of that.
So, yeah, I got a new truck. I'm excited about getting it going. Hopefully at some point this weekend, I'm gonna pull the head off of it and, figure out what's going on, and as I was trying to hook up this microphone tonight, I found this stuff I've been looking for the past 2 weeks a buddy gave me that I'm gonna use to help fix my engine, and so that was good,
Okay. Is
good.
it like some kinda solder?
It's a JP it's
A
a JP
JP
Weld,
Weld?
right?
Okay,
But it's steel stick. So apparently, rumor has it that this stuff you push it all together, and it's only one part. It's not like multiple things, but you put it all together, and you can smear it on stuff, and it hardens like steel, you can thread it.
okay.
So, I mean, I'm hoping that if I don't really know until I get the head off, but the little area it's coming out is, I mean, you can see some corrosion around it, and it's just a stream of water. It's not a high pressure system. So it may be as simple as just the gasket was put on wrong or something.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that's all it is.
If I hear in town,
Yeah,
I'll know
exactly.
and look around at you.
Yeah, so I just got a Ooga horn on it,
Okay.
so
Oh, there you
so
go.
I get Ooga.
Submarine.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So, that's kind of what probably uh, this week ahead for me. I'm looking forward. It's kind of a fun little it's almost a go-kart. It's 24 horsepower. 24 horsepower.
Yeah, don't put your fifth wheel on
You
there.
you probably won't pull the fifth wheel. I, I don't know if you know, but for a living, I automate distribution.
I
And
think yeah.
and so I used to go in these facilities and sell
No,
it.
I don't know what that means exactly.
You don't
So
you don't really know so when you order on Amazon or order anything e-commerce, there's a warehouse somewhere with all that stuff in it, and someone's pulling it off the shelf, you know, assigning it to you, putting it in a box, putting a label on it, sending it to you. That's oversimplified, but that's the task, okay? So I automate a lot of the process with conveyor equipment over the years. And then in the past 5 years, we've gone to autonomous mobile robots. I'm
okay.
tying these together. So
Yeah, good.
I used to walk in these facilities that had sold miles of conveyor for. I felt really freaking guilty because that was the best thing when I had it, but now I got this new thing. So I'm now telling them, I know you spent a couple $1,000,000 on this, but this new thing is better. I just felt guilty. And I always felt like It's almost like Henry Ford coming back, hopping in my F-250 and feeling guilty about the Model T,
Sure.
it's just 9 day difference.
You just wanna feel guilty about something.
Yeah, you just kinda like, you know, this is your solution. I want it to be the forever solution.
Yeah, don't we? We
But what
always wanna improve it in a
Yeah.
way.
But now that I bought the thing, it's really simple, it's really cool, it's kinda crude, if you would, in a romantic sort of way,
Yeah,
and then so it almost took me back, it's like, okay, conveyor was the Model T of its day, kinda
yeah,
thing, and so it's okay. It's okay to say, "Hey, yeah, the Model T is great, but here's the F-250," you know?
yeah,
So, I don't know, it's interesting. I enjoy mechanical stuff, and so, I started I'm in the process of really launching a men's small group, you know?
yeah, tell
And
us about that.
so so the idea is fossil fuels. I'm thinking about fossil fuels. I'm thinking about the duplicity of meaning of burning dead dinosaurs. Because when we grew up, we were always told that oil is from dead dinosaurs. Now I think that's been disproven.
Yeah,
But to me, there'll always be dead dinosaurs. There'll always be a fossil fuel, okay? And so I started saying and pointed at burning dead dinosaurs because I want to bring in people. I really want to build a rat rod. Are you familiar with rat rods?
you told me about it before, just like a whole bunch of different vehicles put together in a way that allows them to work and they look cool.
Yeah, exactly. We're done with that conversation, so we move on. No.
Oh, okay. Tell me
so
more.
so the idea of it though is really building a hot rod car art thing from nothing with a whole bunch of parts you bring together,
Yeah,
okay? And when you have a group of guys, especially today, they don't know anything about engines anymore. The
right,
whole idea of mechanical stuff went away because a lot of them, their dads didn't work on cars. You
right.
know, I guess in the 1900s that ended. I don't know, but they don't know. And so getting young guys, older guys, people that know, people have a passion, people maybe they worked on stuff with their dad, but haven't done anything since then, and getting them together and building a rat rod, and really laying out a frame, throwing some axles underneath it, working together to figure out what kind of body you want on it, maybe a tub from a Model T, and then building this thing to a point where we can drive, and everyone is like, okay, hey, the next thing we need is this. What engine do we want to do? Say, and we work together to go buy an engine, whether we have to rebuild one or whatever, maybe we can donate one and get it all put together and get it
Get one
running.
from Yuli.
Yes, let's do that. So
Yeah,
so if we put one together and then we raffle it off in the church and donate the funds to our build a bed thing that we do at my church
yeah,
and take enough money to get started a new project and start over and just wash, rinse, and repeat. But here's the thing: duplicity and meaning. So men also carry a lot of baggage. We pack it away in our closets or under our bed or you know, proverbial, and we need to pull that and burn that. Get rid of that load. Burn those dead dinosaurs that you've got locked away, the skeletons, if you would.
there you go.
You
Yeah, I was
see?
thinking that.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, get this thing rolling and really just men have been attacked, for so long. I mean, it what they call it,
Toxic.
toxic masculinity. Yeah. E no. It's really why feminine? Why make men more feminine? Men should be men. Let men be men. That's the way
Yeah,
we're designed. So, this gives guys an opportunity to come out. We'll teach them to change brakes, teach them to build a brake system from scratch, with
yeah,
components and really work through some stuff, and I anticipate coming up with some roadblocks and have to figure out and maybe we get an engine and we're all ready to go and do the bad rod or something and teach them to replace rods and pistons until we come up with something that we can drive to church.
there you go.
It'll be fun.
It does sound fun. It sounds like it could be meaningful for a lot of men,
Yeah.
you know? And you look around and you see men that don't know what to be, don't know who to be, don't know how to be a man, you
Yeah.
know? by one definition or another, you know.
Right, right, right.
We're all kind of really discovering and exploring it to some extent,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, our manhood or what it means. The latest interesting thing I have about that was like, I'm learning how men communicate, you know,
Okay.
and I'm not talking about the toxic men. I'm not talking about the young men these days. I'm talking about old men, like hard men. Like I learned that you don't have to update if you got the time and it didn't change. You can just show up at that time.
Yeah.
You don't have to call them and make sure, and you know, you can just believe that that guy knows what time it is too, and just trust him. And it's
Yeah.
been work. I've seen it working.
Oh, yeah.
Like unless you tell me to change something, I'm gonna keep doing it the exact same way because that's what I know and that's how I know to do it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I host a Friday morning breakfast, but, that's branched out into, maybe a Monday breakfast for a couple of us, and then as a Tuesday breakfast, and
I
we
mean, you
always
need breakfast every day. I mean,
we do that, and we kinda have it standing at 7 a.m., but we're there at, like, 6:05 because it's 7 a.m.-ish, you know? It's not like it even though a lot of us are there at 6 or so, you're not really late till 8. You know? So we sit around and enjoy our coffee and converse with other people but everyone's different. You get to be a good study of people, and it's fun. It's fun to watch men walk in and with their spouse or with buddies and if you do it long enough, you'll get to see the same person walk in with different people and really see, how they work and how they act. You get to know people on a different level, and so I'm
mhm,
I'm a study of people. I love people.
yeah, I've enjoyed I've enjoyed learning in the same area how powerful listening. Like, and you're talking about it, right? You're watching them, and we listen with our eyes.
True.
You have how do you read books with your eyes? You're listening to somebody else's thoughts and you're taking them in. And you know, and I as well am a people watcher. I love to sit and watch people interact. Sometimes me and my wife will go out to a restaurant. I'm like, babe, who's on first dates and who's not happy with each other? And we'll just look around at people and study them. And like, I don't know, he seemed to slam that fork down. You know, we'll just have, and she's so much better at it than me. She just knows. Like I am like a 5-year old trying to figure out how people interact and what's going on, their body language and tone, and she just knows right on. And if I'm ever like, "I think it's this," and she's like, "No, I think it's that," she's right. It's just there's just no she just
Yeah.
knows.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know why women are that way or able to do that, but they're on the next level. It's that women's intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. We do a little bit of that. We'll watch and I can tell when there's some tension between a couple, mostly when she hits him, but, still,
When
but
they
you
don't
can
look at each
yeah,
other,
exactly. And then they get up and just walk off from the table at the end
they
of the
both look
meal.
at their phones the whole meal.
Yeah. So that's a problem because, when people are looking at their phone the whole meal, they may be perfectly fine. They've just allowed themselves to not be as connected, and then they're on the phone and it's kind of sad to see society come to that. I really prefer to set my phone down and push it away and like interact with people, but I mean, leave me alone for 5 minutes and I'm on Facebook Marketplace, trying to find another project I don't freaking need?
Yeah. Yeah, and we need social interaction. And
Yeah.
we don't get it from our phone, you know, so that's what I did, like, a little listening TikTok class years ago, and I was like, "Step 1 of listening, see your phone, turn it off and put it over there, look at the person in the eyes, get rid of all distractions, and then hear what they have to say
Mhm,
and how they say it."
mhm.
There's so much hidden language in everything we're saying to each other.
True.
We're radiating through our body language and through our tone, through our voice, obviously. we're radiating out how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about all
Right.
others. And if anybody sits there and pays attention, like you're learning to, like I'm learning to, I can know what's going on for you. I can come up to you and say, "Hey, are you okay?" "Yeah, why?" "You just look like something's wrong," you know? And, meet them at their point of need
Right.
perhaps, or avoid them, if you feel they've got a pistol or something, or go after them if you feel they either
Right,
way.
right, right, right.
But yeah, you get to know, and I guess self-awareness leads to other people awareness.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think, the art of listening is kinda lost. And you're right, there's a lot of different ways to listen. And we're probably not good at it anymore. I think part of it is because you think about our grandparents, granddad went to work in the morning early, had his lunchbox, probably black with a green thermos in it, but, he walked out the door and he went to work. And, he whatever happened that day, he pocketed it and everything else. He may or may not discuss it, but when he came home, there's an opportunity to discuss, things of the day. And his wife would have the same experience throughout the day, different things happened, and then, you know, the neighbor, maybe some gossiping, whatever, just all these things, so you could get together at night and you actively listen to one another and share your days. But now it's like, "Hey, I texted you, why didn't you respond to me?" You know, "Hey, I responded to you." "Yeah, but it was like 9 minutes later." I need so we've lost this thirst for information because we're so overloaded with information,
Right.
and so, I get home, I don't wanna talk to you. You know everything I did today. I'm home, I'm gonna go to my doghouse and just drink a cup of coffee and just relax, you know?
Well, and I can imagine we get so, and to your point of so much information, we get so much information that, I mean, well, I would try and think about it this way, like a person in the 1900s, they read all the books they could get access to perhaps. They specialized in something, they knew a lot about something, and that was their life.
Yeah.
I can learn all I need to know about working on a car in 6 months or less. And if I wanna binge watch, I can watch for a week and learn every system on the car on YouTube and
Yep.
figure out how to fix it for myself. So we've got this information, we're spoiled with it. We don't have to work for it anymore.
True.
All we have to do is turn on our phone on TikTok and put, automobile repair to use that,
Right, 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 right.
or, or books. They'll tell you a whole book instead of reading it in 5 minutes. Here's the premise of the book,
Mhm.
and the
Oh, yeah,
book
yeah.
when you read it, like you were talking about earlier, it's like a dance. It's like they start off telling you all the reasons you need to read this book. Then they get into the meat of it, but they save some stuff that they don't finish telling you till the end, and it's all good storytelling. But if you don't know how to dance that dance, then somebody hands you a book and you're like, after 5 words, you're like, "I don't like it."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They look good on the shelf. They show people I'm smart, but I've never read any of them perhaps or whatever. What are you thinking?
No, I'm digesting a little bit what you're saying. I'm just thinking about you're right. If you don't read and you pick up a book, it's very easy to fall asleep in the first few pages. It hasn't captured your attention. It hasn't
Right.
pulled you in. But it's almost like wine. If you're not a wine drinker and you sip some wine, it's like,
What is this?
but
If nobody tells you about, well, there's some chocolate notes, and there's a little cherry if you wait for it, then you're bubbling it in your mouth and you're gargling and you're like, "Oh, I taste the cherry."
yeah. And the more you study, the more you read, the more wines you taste. And then you start training yourself to start picking out the cherry, or whatever, juniper, whatever it is, maybe the different nuances of the way different grapes react, and then all of a sudden now you're not just reading See Dick Run, you're reading about the adventure that's happening right now because you're looking and feeling for so many things in the first sentence, and because you've been trained, you get that. Otherwise, you're like, "Man, this is dry," you know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, and you're like, "Okay, what's this word? It's got 8 letters. I've never read that word before. Oh, well."
yeah.
But for us, I think for And maybe we're included in a group of people who are advanced readers, perhaps from practice, not any special talent. But we can look and say, I wonder why they didn't use that word. Why did they use this word? Oh, they're saying something deeper here. And that's where it's a dance.
Yeah.
Where they can throw you off if they want. But if you are that next level, you can read to that next level in any book.
Yeah. We know for a fact that the brain's a muscle. You have to exercise muscles to make them stronger. And so the lack of reading
The brain isn't a,
is absolutely a
it's
muscle.
like
It is a muscle.
okay.
Yours may be delicate. I don't know. You are, after all, Crayola
My
system.
brain is made of nerves, but hey, whatever. Go ahead.
I agree. No,
Continue with your point, but you
no,
have to work it. I agree.
I still see as the way a brain functions is much like our muscular system, right? And as you exercise and you train, you read, it makes your brain stronger. It actually helps fight off things like Alzheimer's and stuff because you're in a much stronger position,
Right.
and so it's misfortunate that we don't have that. It's funny, I get sucked into social media like so many people, and I'm on my phone a lot, and I know that at some point I was gonna need readers, but, now I have to, like I'm at 1.75 is because, of the light, the blue light, had
Yeah.
I just read books, I wouldn't be here. You know, my family didn't need glasses. And here I am. It's caused by this. But anyways, back to the brain. It's a muscle. I believe it's a muscle. It acts like a muscle. And when you read and you continue to read, you continue to read, you see words that don't make any sense. Like this book right here, left audio. It says left audio. What the freaking heck is left audio? I'm not sure. But I can say the word because I've trained my brain.
Pronunciation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I like the brain. It's interesting because neurons that fire together wire together.
Yeah.
And as you build these more advanced skills, the more they wire together, the more they shrink. So we think we're gonna run out of space in our brain, but the more we learn, the smaller space it takes up, the more you learn. Isn't that crazy?
So when you're stacking thoughts, you're getting density.
And the denser it gets, the smaller it gets, so it makes room for more.
So you're saying chickens could be really, really smart.
I like where you took that. I don't see it in real life, but I mean,
I mean, they have really small brains, but they could be so full and so dense of information.
yeah, they just aren't taking in the sheer massive numbers of data that we are.
I don't know, my
Like, I
friend.
have learned so much stuff, like, but yeah, well, you know what? We're getting close to the end here, James, but we did not have enough time. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to do another episode sometime because we got so many more things to explore.
I do believe season 3, episode 7. I mean, and season 4, episode 7.
You might be this episode 7 holder from here on out.
I may have to get
It would be a shame to have to wait that long, but
it
hey,
would, but, I mean, I may celebrate with some Seagram 7 next time.
okay.
Yep, just have us
Let's throw as many 7s in there for you.
which
7's just a
doesn't
good.
Prince have a song about 7?
I love how weird the number 7 is. I love how weird it is, like a prime number. But hey, that's a rabbit hole for another time. I'm gonna thank you for joining me today, James.
Thanks for coming out. I love having you in my doghouse. Hopefully you feel comfortable and welcome here anytime. And there's a lot more platforms for us to do exactly this on. I'm launching a little something, something. I'll show you
Okay.
sometime. You'll get talk about that. But man, I love this. This has been great for me. Man, I love you. I tell you right now, I value this relationship. So thank you for inviting me to go down some rabbit holes with you.
I'm
This is good.
honored.
Absolutely, my friend. All right. Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone else for listening, and I hope you stay tuned, find episodes that you like. There's a lot of interesting ones to choose from, and reach out and contact me if you have new ideas or feedback. I love it. Thank you so much.